Wanted to do something that was going to make me money while I sat on a beach.
Hey guys, Matt McKeever here. So I can't help but notice you haven't been sharing my videos a lot. I mean, it's super easy to share them. You're watching one of them right now, and right below this video, right below, you can share it on Facebook, on Twitter, on Reddit, on YouTube, on any of the social medias you're using. And that gives me a huge bump in my views. And so seeing how you guys aren't sharing, it makes me feel that there's something wrong with me, isn't it? It's me. You guys are embarrassed. It's because I'm always so disheveled, spoken, and I'm always stumbling over my own words, isn't it? I'll change. I promise I'll change, guys. I promise I'll change for you if you share these videos. Honestly, look, I'm willing to change right now.
Hey guys, Jeff Wybo here. Hello YouTube. How's it going? We're going to be talking about me today, so perfect. How do you start? How do you get out there? It's not easy. Did you even have a team? I did and didn't. Listen to the experts out there and not listen to the people that aren't experts. As much as they may love you, they could be giving you bad advice sometimes. Expert, Matt McKeever. Make sure you listen to that guy. I think we'll roll back all the way to about 2008 when I started reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, getting myself into that mindset of and really becoming obsessed with passive income. That was my main goals as a real estate investor early on. And to tell you the truth, I didn't know what vehicle I'd be using. Now it is real estate investing. I wanted to do something that was going to make me money while I sat on a beach. Some of us might know what my background is. I was in the military, Canadian military, and I've traveled around the world personally and with the military. You have a lot of time to yourself sometimes when you're deployed. I had done 2 tours to Afghanistan, and anytime I wasn't working, you know, we brought books over. There was no e-readers back then, so lots of heavy books, and we'd go through them, and it was full of a lot of alpha males, a lot of guys that wanted to win a lot. So it was always about fitness and making money, and the Canadian government gave us a lot of money when we were deployed. Well, maybe not at today's standards, but back then when I'm in my young 20s, it was a lot of money. So that's a little bit of a way that I was able to get amounts for down payments. Plus, pre-2008, I was always saving. Knew I wanted to make my money always work for me at the time. I think every single person needs, it might not be go to Afghanistan, but if you look at Matt's, the Dylans, everybody in the London network here who has got their start in real estate investing, there was a sacrifice somewhere. They grinded somewhere. So for me, it was 445 days in Afghanistan, where I came home with tax-free money, and on my second time home, well actually while I was in Kabul, the last 2 months, it would have been around January 2012, and I was talking with my friend Sean out of Calgary about what I should be doing, and he was currently buying in London and branching out to Calgary, buying income properties, and I thought this was very interesting. But I was coming home. Well, we started talking a little bit about potentially joint venturing on something. So these were new words to me. I didn't know what it meant per se. I had being away for a good 2 to 3 years. I didn't have an apartment. I was still living the residence or addresses with the parents. I needed a place. I got home and I needed a place to live, and I started out looking for that lifestyle which I thought I wanted. A penthouse in London, Ontario, and a flashy car, and all the things that I thought was going to make me happy. Continuously talking to Sean, and he said, well, why not get a place and rent it out and live for free? And I thought, wait a minute, this is amazing. Just buy a place, have everybody else pay my mortgage. This is perfect. And really, I was an amateur real estate investor at the time. Now, other people were telling me, buy this place, buy that place. I kept listening to Sean, who a strong knowledge from the Real Estate Investment Network, and he had done the spreadsheets, everything I didn't know about, and he ran a triplex for me, and he says you could live in the 2-bedroom and rent out the other 2 3-bedrooms and live for free, and then one day you could move out and this whole place would cash flow perfectly. There was this big purpose-built triplex on St. George Street in London, Ontario. It was on the MLS on a Friday, and they were going to be taking offers. Now, unfortunately, my grandmother had passed away that weekend, and I flew to Thunder Bay for her funeral, and with any hopes of seeing St. George gone because they were taking offers that weekend and I hadn't even been in yet. Maybe it was my grandma giving me one more chance because she was always supporting me when I was younger, that they pushed all the offers till Monday, and we had flown back to London, Ontario, and I was in there Monday, and I had about 3 hours to make an offer. I barely knew what an offer was, to tell you the truth. The real estate agent at the time told me I was very calm writing the offer, and I said, well, I'm not being shot at, so it's not that bad. So, and he was very impressed. Now, here's the thing. There was plenty of action on this property, purpose-built triplex. It turns out, my realtor tells me that there were 7 offers on the property. Well, 6 offers, and I was going to be the 7th. And I didn't know. Well, that's a pretty big multiple offer scenario in London, Ontario, especially for purpose-built. So what I did was, through calculations, I came up with a number. I got to get back in it, but it was $17,000 over asking, and it was still cash flow for me. This was based on with Sean's help, going over the spreadsheets. 17 over asking, and my realtor said to me, "Well, it was a good try, but you're not going to get this one. I'm really impressed that your first offer you did 17,000 over asking." And I was like, "Oh, sure, no problem." And then, well, he calls me and he says, "Well, it's down to you and one other guy. Can you close May the 7th?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not? Like, what else am I doing, right?" So now this came with a lot of problems too, so don't think on your first one everything's going to go completely smooth. I had a vacancy over the summer. It was still okay because I had a lot of capital. Today, would I purchase it like that? Maybe not, or I would have had better strategies. I quickly hired a management company to help me because I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I ended up firing them later on because I became more comfortable with showings, and like I thought I could do a better job and get a higher rent. But then another interesting story is I thought the whole process was supposed to be accurate and everything, and the leases that I was purchasing with the current tenants were supposed to be accurate because it went to a lawyer, right? So I have a lease with 3 names on it. I knock on Unit 3's door and I say, "Where is Sabrina?" "Oh, she lives in Vancouver." I said, "Where is Sally?" "She lives in Halifax." And then one girl says, "Well, I'm Hannah," and I got one Hannah on the lease. And then this is Amanda. We pay $425, not $1,200 and change, $1,275. And this is the way it's been. And I quickly was backing up as the landlord, being like, "Oh, I guess this is the way it is," and calling my realtor, and he was ready to say, "Well, it's yours now, I'll figure it out," pretty much. So I had no real support there. Luckily, they were gone in 4 months, and I was able to rent out for a higher rent, and slowly get people into my main floor, Unit 2, and live for free in my basement. And throughout that time, I picked up contracts here and there with the Army, with other actual renovators, and learning some tools with my tools of the trade with Dean, my buddy at Right Renos. It's not advertised, so don't tell him I put this on YouTube. Picking up some skills, because honestly I barely knew how to turn the water off in the house when I first started, and now like there's not too many problems that we're even scared at when we walk through houses anymore. It's at least important to know who to call to fix the problem versus being able to fix the problem these days. I think just relaxing more as a landlord rather than being so uptight. So live for free. I did a lot of traveling. I was post Afghanistan, so I needed to kind of, just relax. We call it decompression, and just live life back in Canada and travel around. It was the next year, after learning a bit of landlording, that we'll get into joint ventures now. Sean and his wife, Danny, approached me to purchase a property out in Calgary because that was the big oil boom out there, and the money was flowing through Alberta, and that's where the appreciation was, and London, Ontario was dead and everything like that. And so I was still amateurish in purchasing, and they presented me an offer where I gave them X amount of dollars and returned Y monthly. So to me, that was just adding to my cash flow, and